Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to do a cool 3D coronavirus animation using your own face. This is the finished result. And let me just switch the quality so I can play this back for you. All right, to get that, this is what we do. Okay, to start off with, we're going to make a circle. To do that, you just go to Layer, New, and you create a shape layer, and then use this object tool to draw a circle or an ellipse onto the screen. I made it black. Then I'm going to make another circle. Ignore the fact this says green circle because I'm actually going to make it red. See the right here, it says the fill is red. Right on top of that, I'm going to add a few effects to that. I'm going to put a gradient ramp, the end color black, start color red, and I'm going to make a radial ramp. That's a ramp shape. There's an option for linear, but we're doing radial because I want it to be dark, lighter in the middle and darker around the edges. Then I'm going to do a couple layers of vibrance to liven it up a bit. Then I add a glow effect. Then I add another glow effect. That really brightened it up. And then add a Gaussian blur. This blurs the edges right there. I messed around with the preferences, so blurriness is at 150. So it kind of blends it together around the edges. So you have a darker edge and a lighter middle, and you can see a glow going on around the circle. If you go up here, you can see what I set for preferences for the glow as well. So you're welcome to look at that. Just kind of mess around till you get it the way you want it to be. The next thing I'm going to add is some points around the edges. To do that, I created a circle, and then I used this tool right here, the pen tool, and put dots spaced evenly around the circle. You can kind of see where they'd be right here, 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 here. And then I'd grab this dot here, and then pull this one up to here, dot here, and then pull this one up to here to create these points, and do that all the way around. I built smaller points going into bigger points so that when I rotate this whole layer, it'll create an effect as though the points are actually moving in place. You have to spin it about 200 times faster than a normal spin to get this effect. I have a darker red I used for the point color. I added a drop shadow, and then I doubled that up just to create depth to these points, as you can see. So you take it off, it removes it. It looks more two-dimensional. This adds a little more dimension. Going underneath the COVID circle points layer, for the rotation, I put a point here and a point over here. And this point, you can see it moves 200 times. So between that point and that point, the circle will rotate 200 times, and that's a very fast speed, which you want to have, so it makes it look like the points are actually moving in place and not just moving around the circle. See how it looks like they're wiggling back and forth? You get that effect for moving from smaller points to bigger points around the circle, and then so it looks like it has little tentacles almost. So then after that is done, I'm going to put another circle on top. This is going to be a darker color, a darker red. I think it's a little darker than the point square. So you put that right on top of there, a little off center so it's not exactly in the middle. On this layer, I added a fractal noise layer. That's an effect that introduces some more dimension to the circle. See, there's like darker reds and lighter reds blended together. Then I put a Gaussian blur on top of that to blend that together. Blurriness was 271, and it looks darker in the middle, lighter around the edges. You get that kind of an effect. The next layer I'm going to do is the actual face of me. So there's my face in the video. I put my face on a pillow and I talked into the camera. You want to keep your face as still as possible and as close to the camera as possible so that it lines up as best with the circle as you can get it. You'll get the best results that way. I added a mask to this layer. So I went down here, mask, created a mask, and I adjusted it so that the eyes are showing and the mouth is showing clearly, but I brought it in a little bit around the cheeks. Under the preferences for mask, you can alter the feather amount. Mine's at 97. This just softens the edges so it's not so hard. See how it's a little softer and not just like a straight line around. The next thing I added was a CC toner layer. You can adjust the colors here. I messed around with like a light red, dark red, a tan. This adds a creepier effect, so it doesn't just look like your skin. It actually starts to look more creature-esque. The next layer I added was a vibrance layer. That turned it more red, and it kind of took away some of the resemblance to a human. I added a tint on top of that to darken the inside of the face a little more, add a little more definition. And then this layer here is a wiggle effect. I put that on there. Now the wiggle effect actually will make the face wiggle slightly. I adjusted it so that it slowly moves around the edges. It creates more of a fluid, like liquid effect. I don't know how else to say it. Like that kind of an effect, like your face is flowing. It just added a little more dimension to the creature and made it look a little cooler. So I did that. You're welcome to do that if you want. The wiggle amount is set to 2. And that's all I did for the face part. Now, then I added a glow on top of that. So I added a circle for the glow. On this layer, I added Gaussian blur, vibrance, vibrance, and vibrance again to make it extra bright. You go down this drop down and over here under opacity, if you option and click on the stopwatch right here, it creates an expression. An expression is just some numbers that you enter here that will allow animation to happen without actually having to manually program it. It just happens indefinitely for whatever numbers you set here and here. So I put wiggle, parentheses, 70, 100, parentheses, and that is my expression. With that, as you can see, it's a little bit slower here. You probably see it better if I reduce the quality so it plays smoother. As you can see, it's glowing. That's what an expression does. It allows it to glow. You can manually enter it if you want to enter the little keyframes. Now, after all that's done, I'm going to bring back in the face. And the covert circle. I call it the covert circle. It's the glow. That's the glowing layer that you'll see. So when you play it back, you can see it lightly glowing. You could do it more prominent if you wanted. I just wanted a subtle glow around it, something that wouldn't stick out too much, but it adds more character. And for the background, just put behind all these layers whatever you want. I did a doorknob. I did a parody of Bad Guy by Billie Eilish. It's called Bad Guy. You can check that out right on my page. That's what I use this for. And that is how you create a coronavirus animation that is 3-dimensional using your face. Using your face saves a lot of trouble trying to get that 3-dimensional look. It's a little bit easier. That's all I've got.
Heart thumping, blood pumping, sweat running. I'm a victim of your love now.